Guys, when I tell you my life was peaceful 48 hours ago, I need you to understand what kind of peaceful I mean. Not rich peaceful, not healthy peaceful, not I wake up, drink green juice and journal about gratitude peaceful. I mean broke peaceful. The kind of peaceful where your rent is late, your fridge contains half a lime, 2 eggs, and emotional damage. And your biggest romantic relationship is with the heated blanket you bought on sale 3 winters ago. That was my life. Quiet, exhausting, embarrassing, but mine. Then I accidentally sent a mirror selfie to Astraea Blackthorn. Yes, that Astraea Blackthorn, the most feared female alpha in Ravenport City. The woman whose name made landlords become polite, CEOs stop lying, and entire packs lower their eyes when she entered a room. And because apparently my survival instincts were decorative, I texted her back. So yes, mistakes were made. My name is Ophira Vale. I am 26 years old, an omega, tragically underpaid, suspiciously attractive when sleep-deprived, and 1 unpaid bill away from becoming a ghost in my own apartment. I worked at a luxury scent boutique called Moonlace, where rich alpha women came in, sniffed perfumes that cost more than my groceries, and said things like, "Do you have anything that smells more dominant?" Ma'am, I smelled like stress, vanilla body spray, and unpaid electricity. Please do not ask me about dominance. By the time I got home that Friday night, my feet were burning, my throat was dry, and my omega scent had turned sharp from exhaustion. Not sweet, not soft, not seductive. No, my scent was giving panic, cinnamon, and unpaid rent. I pushed open my apartment door and found Nixie Thorne sitting on my bed, eating my crackers. Nixie was my best friend. She was also a demon with lip gloss. "You look destroyed," she said. "You look like you broke in again." She lifted one shoulder. "Your lock has low self-esteem." "Nixie." "What? I brought moral support." "You brought nothing." She held up my crackers. "I found snacks." "Those are my snacks." "Our snacks now." I dropped my bag on the floor and kicked off my shoes. My apartment was so small that if I sighed too loudly, the kitchen heard it. The radiator clicked like it was judging me. The ceiling had a stain shaped like a disappointed angel. Nixie looked around slowly. "This place has character. It has mold. Same genre." I collapsed beside her and covered my face with both hands. I hate my job. I know. I hate my manager. I know. I hate rich people. Nixie paused. "You don't hate all rich people." I lowered my hands and stared at her. "I absolutely do." "No," she said, pointing at me. "You hate cheap rich people. You would fold immediately for a rich woman with cheekbones and a dangerous voice." That is offensive. That is your type. I don't have a type. You once dated a cello player because she looked haunted. She had beautiful hands. And emotional debt. I sat up. "Why are you here?" Nixie smiled. That smile had ruined my life several times. "I'm helping you." "No." "Yes." "No." "Ophira, you need joy." "I need money." "Same neighborhood." 10 minutes later, against my will, Nixie had my phone in her hand and was making me a dating profile. I want it recorded that I protested, several times, loudly. But Nixie moved like a woman possessed by gossip and bad judgment. She picked photos, wrote a bio, deleted the bio, rewrote the bio, then announced, "You need something hotter." "I need sleep." "You need attention." "I get attention. From bill collectors." I threw a pillow at her. She caught it. Then she looked toward my bathroom. "No."
Yes. No! The bathroom mirror has the best lighting. I hate that you're right.
5 minutes later, I was standing in front of my bathroom mirror, in a black satin sleep top I only wore when I wanted to feel powerful while eating instant noodles. The lighting was criminal. Soft gold, warm shadows, just enough mercy. My curls fell over one shoulder. My lips looked fuller than usual. My collarbone was doing something unnecessary. The thin strap of the satin top had slipped slightly, showing bare skin and the faint shimmer of my omega mark near my shoulder. I looked good. Not regular good. Dangerous good. The kind of good that made poor decisions introduce themselves politely. Nixie gasped from the doorway. "Oh, she's alive!" "Shut up." No, this is art. This is rent assistance." "I'm not selling pictures." "Not with that attitude." I took one photo, then another, then one more. The third one was the problem. My head was tilted. My eyes looked half bored, half inviting. My mouth was soft. The satin clung to me in a way that felt illegal in several districts.
Even I stared. Nixie whispered, "Save that before you remember self-respect." I meant to save it. I truly did. But my thumb slipped. Share. Recent contact. Unknown number. Sent. The room went silent. Not quiet. Silent. The kind of silence that arrives before consequences. I stared at the screen. Nixie stared at the screen. My soul stepped outside, checked the weather, and refused to come back. "What did you do?" Nixie whispered. "I don't know." "Who is that?" "I don't know." The profile picture was black. No name, no face. Just a number and the kind of energy that made my stomach tighten. I tried to delete it. Too late. Seen. I stopped breathing. Nixie grabbed my arm. "Ophira." "No." "Ophira." "No." They saw it. I know they saw it. A typing bubble appeared. Stopped. Appeared again. Stopped. Whoever this was had dramatic timing. Finally, a message came through. "Pretty Omega." I screamed. Nixie screamed louder. I dropped the phone onto the sink like it had bitten me. Another message appeared. "Who were you trying to ruin with that picture?" I looked at Nixie. Nixie looked at me. Then she whispered, "Text back." "Absolutely not. Gather information. This is how women die in documentaries. This is how women get married in expensive romance novels." I picked up the phone with shaking fingers. Wrong person. The reply came immediately. "No." I frowned. "What does no mean?" Nixie leaned over my shoulder. "It means she's insane. Keep going." I typed, "I don't know you." The answer came so fast it felt like she was already waiting. But I know enough. My skin prickled. My omega instincts stirred low in my stomach, confused and alert. That was the first warning. The second warning came when another message appeared. "You skipped dinner." I froze. Nixie whispered, "Oh, that's rich stalker behavior." I typed, "Who is this?" For a moment, nothing happened. Then, Astraea Blackthorn. My blood went cold. Nixie's mouth fell open. The bathroom light hummed. Somewhere outside, a siren passed. I stared at the name until the letters stopped making sense. Astraea Blackthorn was not a person normal women texted. She was a headline, a rumor, a closed door, the Alpha who controlled half the private security firms in the city and all of the underground pack courts people pretended did not exist. She was 32, beautiful in the kind of way that made portraits jealous, and terrifying enough that even other alphas spoke her name carefully. And I had just sent her a mirror selfie in satin. I sat down on the closed toilet lid. Nixie sat on the edge of the bathtub. Neither of us spoke for 3 full seconds, which was a personal record for Nixie. Then my phone buzzed again. Do not panic. I laughed once, a tiny, broken sound. Too late, Your Majesty. Nixie grabbed my shoulders. Okay, listen to me. We are going to be calm. You are shaking. I am shaking with strategy. Another message came. Your rent is due Monday. My lips parted. Nixie leaned closer. What? I whispered. She knows about my rent. Nixie's eyes widened. Oh, she's not just rich. She's admin rich. Then another message. It is handled. I stood so fast I nearly hit my head on the towel rack. No. Nixie blinked. What? No, absolutely not. No mysterious alpha woman is paying my rent because I accidentally sent her a thirst trap. Nixie tilted her head. Why not? Because that is how ownership starts. Or romance. Same danger with better lighting. I typed quickly. Do not pay my rent. Astria replied. Too late. I screamed into a towel. Nixie fell backward laughing. I blocked the number immediately. Then I unblocked it because I needed to see if she kept texting. Then I blocked it again because I had values. Then I went to bed angry, terrified, and slightly flattered. A terrible combination. The next morning, someone knocked on my door at exactly 8 o'clock. Not normal knocking, no. This knock had money. 3 clean, controlled taps.
Like the person outside had never been ignored in her life. I opened one eye. My apartment was still dim. Nixie was asleep on my couch wearing sunglasses. Because of course she was. The knock came again. 3 taps. Patient. Elegant. Threatening. I crawled out of bed, wrapped myself in a robe, and looked through the peephole. 2 women stood outside. Tall, still, dressed in black suits. Not cheap suits, not office suits. These were suits that said they knew where bodies were buried, but preferred not to wrinkle. One had silver blonde hair pulled into a severe braid and a scar through one eyebrow. The other wore dark gloves and looked directly at the peephole, like she could see my fear through the door. The blonde one spoke. Ophira Vale. My knees weakened. Hearing your full name from a stranger in a black suit is never a casual experience. Behind me, Nixie sat up instantly. What happened? I whispered. There are luxury assassins outside. She jumped off the couch and ran to the door. I opened it 2 inches. The blonde woman looked down at me with cold green eyes. I am Kestrel Vane. Miss Blackthorn is waiting downstairs. I stared. Good morning to you too, Nightmare Barbie. Kestrel blinked once. No smile, no reaction. Terrible audience. I am not going anywhere, I said. Kestrel's gaze moved over my robe, my messy hair, and my bare feet. Her voice remained calm. You may wish to dress first. Rude. Nixie pushed her face into the gap. Is Astria hot in person? Kestrel looked at her. Yes. Nixie grabbed my arm. You're going. I am not. You are. I have dignity. You have rent paid by a criminal goddess. Put on pants. 5 minutes later, I was in black jeans, boots,
and a cream sweater I did not own. Because yes, they had brought clothes. Clothes that fit me perfectly. Which was not romantic. It was terrifying. I walked downstairs between Kestrel and the other bodyguard like a celebrity being escorted to her own poor decisions. A black car waited outside my building. Not shiny, not flashy. Worse. Quiet. Expensive. Predatory. The back window lowered halfway, and there she was. Astraea Blackthorn. Dark hair, pale skin, sharp mouth, black coat, gold ring on one finger. Eyes so gray they looked like winter had learned how to judge. She looked at me once, slowly, not rudely, not softly, like she was memorizing where to place the knife and where to place the kiss. My breath caught. I hated that. Her voice came through the open window, low and smooth. Ophira Vale. I crossed my arms. Astraea Blackthorn. Her mouth almost curved. You are smaller than I expected. I stared at her. You sent bodyguards to my apartment, and your first move is height crime? Kestrel coughed. It might have been a laugh. Astraea's eyes flicked to my mouth. Get in. No. You are cold. I am suspicious.
You can be both inside. Nixie leaned toward my ear and whispered, If you don't get in that car, I will. I got in, for safety. Not because Astraea's voice had done something humiliating to my nervous system. The door closed. The car smelled like leather, rain, and Alpha. Not just any Alpha. Her. Astraea's scent filled the back seat slowly. Black amber, smoke, winter roses, and something darker underneath. Something controlled. Something that touched the Omega part of me and made it sit up like a traitor. I pressed myself against the door. She noticed. Of course, she noticed. You are afraid. I am cautious. You are gripping the door handle. It has been emotionally supportive. Her eyes moved over me again, slower this time. You blocked me. You paid my rent. You needed help. You needed boundaries. That almost smile returned. You are loud for someone who was shaking 10 minutes ago. I shake with personality. For the first time, she smiled. Not fully, just enough. It was devastating. I looked out the window immediately because self-preservation still flickered somewhere inside me. The car started moving. I turned back. Where are we going? Breakfast. I was kidnapped for breakfast? You were escorted. By women who look like they bench press secrets? Astria glanced at Kestrel in the front seat. She does. Kestrel said nothing. I hated this entire situation. I also wanted to know what Astraea Blackthorn ordered for breakfast. That was the problem with curiosity. It never respected danger. We arrived at a private dining room on the top floor of a hotel I had only seen in scandals and engagement announcements. The table was already set. Coffee, fruit, warm bread, tiny pastries, butter shaped like a flower because rich people cannot let butter rest. I sat across from Astria. She removed her gloves slowly. That should not have been attractive. It was. Her hands were elegant, long-fingered, with one black ring resting on her index finger. There was power in the way she moved. No hurry, no wasted motion. Like the entire world would wait because it knew better. Eat, she said. I don't take orders. You skip dinner. I take some orders.
I reached for a pastry. The first bite was so good, I saw forgiveness. Astria watched me, not in a creepy way, in a focused way, which might have been worse. "You are hungry often," she said. I swallowed. "That is a rude thing to know." "It is an obvious thing to notice." "You met me 12 hours ago." "I knew of you before that." I froze. The room went quiet around us. My fingers tightened around the coffee cup. "What does that mean?" Astria leaned back. "Your scent has been interfering with my patrol routes for 3 weeks." I blinked. "My scent?" "Yes." "My broke little Omega scent?" "It is not little." The way she said it made heat crawl up my neck. I looked away. Bad idea. Very bad idea. Omegas had scent signatures. Everyone knew that. But most alphas ignored strangers, unless the scent was unusually strong, unusually distressed, or tied to pack law. My scent, apparently, had been floating through Ravenport like a financial emergency, with cinnamon notes. Astria continued. "Every night you walked home from Moonlace, your scent was strained, exhausted, afraid. Not enough to call interference, enough to notice." I slowly lowered my pastry. "You could smell me from the street?" "Yes." "That feels illegal." "It is biology." "It is creepy biology." Her mouth twitched. "You were being followed twice last month." My stomach dropped. "What?" Kestrel handled it. I turned toward the door. Kestrel stood outside the glass wall, arms folded, eyes scanning the room like danger had an appointment. "She handled it?" "Yes." I looked back at Astria. "And you were going to tell me when?" "When you stopped looking like you might bite me." "I might still bite you." Astria's gaze dropped briefly to my mouth. Silence. Then she said softly, "Careful, Omega." My entire body betrayed me. I looked at the coffee. I looked at the window. I looked anywhere but at her face, because her voice had gone lower and my instincts had no shame. "No," I said. "No?" "No to whatever that was." That was a warning. That was flirting with legal implications. "It can be both." I hated that she had answers for everything. I hated that she looked calm while I was losing internal furniture. I hated that the most dangerous alpha in the city knew I skipped meals, protected me from people I had not even seen, paid my rent without permission, and still somehow made me want to throw a croissant at her. Breakfast continued like a negotiation between hunger and survival. She asked about my job. I complained for 12 minutes. She listened. Not fake listened, actually listened. Her eyes stayed on my face. Her fingers rested around her coffee cup. She did not interrupt. She did not offer solutions immediately.
She let me rant about my manager, Morwen Hale, a woman who had the personality of an expired coupon and the leadership style of a broken vending machine. When I finished, Astria said only, "She humiliates you in front of customers." I paused. "Yes. Frequently. Yes. You laugh after." I blinked. "What?" "When she does it, your scent spikes with shame, and then you joke. You make others laugh so they don't notice you are hurt." That hit too close. I set the coffee down. "You observe too much. You hide too much." The room felt warmer suddenly. Not romantic warm. Dangerous warm. The kind of warmth that comes when someone sees the bruise you were covering with sarcasm. I stood up quickly. I need to go to work. Astria glanced at her watch. You have time. I have panic, similar but louder. She stood too, tall, elegant, black coat falling around her like night had a tailor. I will have you taken there. I know how buses work. I know. Then why?
Because there are 3 women watching your building, 1 watching your store, and 1 pretending to read outside this hotel. My mouth dried. What? Kestrel? The door opened instantly. Of course. Kestrel stepped in. Ma'am? Clear the route. Yes. I looked between them. Clear the route? Am I the route? Astria picked up her gloves. For now. I did not know what that meant. I also did not like the way, for now, settled in my stomach. 20 minutes later, I walked into Moonlace with a black car parked across the street, 2 silent female bodyguards pretending not to exist, and a coffee in my hand that cost more than my hourly wage. My coworker, Vera Quill, looked up from the register and narrowed her eyes. Why do you smell expensive? I was attacked by breakfast. She leaned closer. And Alpha. I choked. Excuse me? Vera's eyes widened. Oh, that is strong. Whoever she is, she has money and control issues. Why does everyone keep diagnosing my life correctly?
Before Vera could answer, Morwen Hale appeared from the back room. Our manager. Tall, blonde, always dressed in beige, as if color had disappointed her personally. Ophira, she snapped. My spine tensed. You're late. I am 4 minutes early. You should be earlier. I smiled. I'll try arriving yesterday. Vera coughed behind the counter. Morwen's eyes hardened. I don't appreciate your attitude. And yet you keep creating opportunities for it. That was when Morwen opened her mouth to destroy my shift. Then her phone rang. She glanced down. All the blood drained from her face. Interesting. Very interesting. She answered. Morwen Hale speaking. Silence. Her expression changed. Yes. More silence. No, I understand. Even more silence. Her hand tightened around the phone. Yes, of course. She hung up slowly. The store was quiet except for soft piano music and 1 rich customer aggressively spraying jasmine on her elbow. Morwen looked at me, then looked away. Take register 1, she said. No insult, no lecture, no public humiliation. Just fear. I turned toward the front window. Across the street, Kestrel stood beside the black car, arms folded. She did not wave, she did not smile. But I knew. I knew. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I had unblocked her without remembering when. Astria, you are welcome. I typed back. Did you threaten my manager? Astria, no. I stared. Another message appeared. I clarified consequences. I put my phone face down. Vera leaned over. Is your alpha scary? She is not my alpha. But is she scary? Yes. Vera nodded. Good for you. The rest of the shift passed with suspicious ease. Morwen avoided me like I had become contagious. Customers were kinder. 1 woman who usually complained for sport bought 3 bottles and said thank you. I did not trust any of it. At 5 o'clock, a delivery woman arrived carrying a bouquet of black roses. Black roses. In a luxury scent boutique.
The drama. Attached was a card.
For surviving today.
No signature. None needed. Vera screamed in a whisper. Ophira! No. She sent funeral flowers romantically. I hate that that makes sense. My phone buzzed again. Astria, dinner, 8. I typed, no. Astria, wear something soft. I typed, you are not choosing my clothes. Astria, then choose badly on your own. I stared at the message. I hated her. I hated her confidence. I hated that I laughed. And that was my first serious warning that I was not just afraid anymore. Fear does not make you check your phone every 30 seconds. Fear does not make your scent soften when a message comes in. Fear does not make you wonder what a terrifying alpha's mouth would feel like if she stopped using it to give orders. That was something else. Something worse. Something with better lighting. When I got home, Nixie was waiting again. I did not ask how she got inside. At that point, it felt spiritually pointless.
She was sitting on my kitchen counter, holding the card from the black roses. For surviving today, she read dramatically. This woman is insane. I know. She is romantic. No. She is possessive. Yes. You like it. No. Nixie slid off the counter and stared at me. Ophira. What? You're glowing. I am sweating. You are glowing with expensive danger. I dropped my bag. She paid my rent. Hot. She threatened my manager. Necessary? She had me watched. Concerning. Thank you. But hot. Nixie. What? I contain multitudes. I fell onto the bed and stared at the ceiling stain. I don't know what she wants. Nixie sat beside me. Yes, you do. I did not answer, because that was the problem. Astraea Blackthorn did not text like a woman playing. She did not look at me like I was a distraction. She looked at me like I had become a decision. And powerful women did not make decisions casually. At 7:15, I was still not going to dinner. At 7:22, I was brushing my hair, still not going. At 7:31, I was applying lipstick, still morally opposed. At 7:44, a black garment bag arrived. Nixie opened it and screamed so loudly my upstairs neighbor stopped dragging furniture. Inside was a deep, wine-colored dress. Not red, not purple. Wine. Soft fabric, long sleeves, low neckline. The kind of dress that whispered poor choices in fluent alpha. The note said, soft enough. I closed my eyes. This is harassment by tailoring. Nixie held the dress against me. This is a religious event. I am not wearing it. At 8:02, I was wearing it. Growth is not linear. The car took me to a private townhouse in the old district of Ravenport, where the streets were clean, the gates were tall, and every building looked like it had inherited money from a dead duchess. Kestrel opened the car door for me. She glanced at the dress. Appropriate. Thank you, fashion prison guard. Her mouth twitched, barely. I took that as progress.
Inside, the house was all dark wood, candlelight, and quiet wealth. Not flashy, no gold everywhere. No ridiculous statues. Just old books, heavy curtains, black marble floors, and the kind of silence that made footsteps feel dramatic. Astria stood near the fireplace. Black suit, open collar, hair down. I had not prepared emotionally for the hair down. It fell over one shoulder in dark waves, softening nothing, only making her look more dangerous because now she was dangerous casually. Her gaze landed on me. It moved from my boots to the hem of the dress, over my waist, my throat, my lips. Slow, controlled, burning without touching. My omega scent betrayed me immediately. Sweet cinnamon rose into the room. Astria's eyes darkened. I wanted to turn around and walk into traffic. "You wore it," she said. "You sent it. You could have refused." "I tried." "You failed beautifully." I pointed at her. "No." "No? You don't get to sound like that." "Like what?" Like every word is removing furniture from my brain. For 1 second, she looked surprised. Then she smiled. Fully. I nearly needed medical assistance. Dinner was served in a private dining room by women who appeared and disappeared silently. Everyone in Astria's world moved like secrets. The food was unfair. The wine was worse. I tried not to enjoy it. I failed. Astria watched me taste the first bite of pasta. "You like it?" "I respect it." "That is not the same thing. I don't want it to get confident." She leaned back. "You flirt when you are comfortable." I almost choked. "I do not." "You do." "I complain." With rhythm. "I insult." With warmth. "I am trying to survive dinner." "You are succeeding." The problem with Astria was that she did not flirt loudly. She did not throw herself forward. She did not overdo charm. She waited. She watched. She let silence stretch until your own thoughts became reckless. By the second course, I was nervous. By dessert, I was angry that I was nervous. By the time she reached across the table and brushed a drop of wine from my lower lip with her thumb, my entire body forgot its responsibilities. Her thumb lingered for half a breath. Not long. Long enough. My lips parted. Her gaze dropped. The room changed. It was not soft now. It was sharp. Electric. The kind of quiet that happens right before someone makes a choice. "Ophira," she said. My name in her mouth sounded nothing like it did anywhere else. It sounded chosen. I swallowed. "You can't just do that." "Do what? Touch me like the world stops afterward?" Her expression shifted. Not amusement, not control. Something darker. "Does it?" I should have made a joke. I should have moved away. Instead, I whispered, "Yes." Astria stood, slowly. She came around the table, each step measured, not rushing, not asking the room for permission. I stayed in my chair, suddenly aware of every inch of my body, every breath, every traitorous pulse.
She stopped beside me, close, not touching. My scent rose again, warmer now, cinnamon and honey, embarrassed and honest. Her alpha scent answered. Smoke, amber, winter roses. It wrapped around me with terrifying gentleness. Astria bent slightly, one hand resting on the back of my chair. "Tell me to step back," she said. I looked up at her. The teasing was gone. So was the arrogance. Her voice was low, controlled, almost strained. "You would?" "Yes." My throat tightened. There are moments when danger becomes clear. Not because someone threatens you, because someone powerful gives you the choice to walk away and means it. I whispered, "Don't step back." Astria's eyes held mine. Then she touched my chin. Just 2 fingers, just enough to tilt my face upward. My breath shook. She noticed. Of course she noticed. You are trembling. You are very close. Yes. That is the issue. That is the point. Her mouth hovered near mine. I felt the warmth of her breath. My whole body became one single, foolish heartbeat. Then the front door slammed downstairs. We both froze. I closed my eyes. I hate your life. Astria did not move. For 1 second, I thought she might ignore it. Then Kestrel appeared in the doorway. Her face was calm. Too calm. Ma'am, Melora Draven has entered the city. The room went cold. Astria straightened. The warmth vanished from her expression like someone had blown out a candle. I looked between them. Who is Melora Draven? Kestrel's eyes flicked to me. A problem. Astria's voice was flat. Not for long. I stood slowly. Oh good. Murder voice. Love that at dessert. Astria looked at me. Stay here. No. Her eyes sharpened. Ophira. Do not Ophira me. You almost kissed me, and then a woman named Melora Draven entered the city like a gothic weather event. I want context. Kestrel looked like she wanted to leave immediately. Astria took one slow breath. Melora leads the Ash Court. She wanted a treaty. I refused.
Why? Because she requested access to an Omega registry. My stomach turned. Every Omega in Ravenport knew about registries. Old pack systems, names, scents, cycles, vulnerabilities, family lines. Officially illegal, unofficially still hunted by powerful alphas who thought Omegas were resources instead of people. I stepped back. Why would she want that? Astria's face went colder. To claim unbound Omegas before rival packs could. My skin prickled. Nixie's voice in my head would have said, and this is why we don't date organized power. For once, Nixie would have been correct. Astria looked at Kestrel. Secure Ophira's building. Kestrel nodded. And Nixie Thorne? Bring her in. I snapped, Excuse me? Astria looked at me. Your friend is vulnerable because of you. My heart dropped. That landed hard. Astria softened by 1 degree. Because of me, too, she added. I hated that she said it. I hated that it helped. Kestrel left. I grabbed my phone and called Nixie immediately.
She answered on the first ring. Did you kiss her? Nixie. That sounds like no. Pack danger. A pause. Oh, capital P? Yes. Should I put on pants? Yes. Is the scary blonde coming? Yes. Good. I liked her cheekbones. Nixie, focus. I am focused. On survival and cheekbones. 20 minutes later, Nixie arrived at Astria's townhouse wearing pink pajamas, combat boots, and a fur coat she definitely did not own. Kestrel walked behind her like a silent executioner. Nixie looked around the foyer. Oh, this house has trauma money. Astria stared at her. Nixie stared back. Then she whispered to me, She is worse in person. I know. Why is she looking at you like that? Like what? Like she already picked your side of the bed. I covered my face. Astria, unfortunately, heard everything. Her mouth almost curved. Kestrel cleared her throat. Melora's envoy requested a meeting at midnight. Astria's expression hardened. Where? The glass chapel. I lifted a hand. Sorry, the what? Nixie leaned toward me. That sounds like a place women in black coats confess hot crimes. Kestrel said, It is neutral ground. Of course it is. Astria turned to me. You will stay here with Nixie. No. Ophira? No. You don't get to drag my life into danger and then explain nothing. I am explaining enough. You are explaining like a haunted brochure. Nixie nodded. She has a point. Kestrel said nothing, but her eyes flicked away. Traitor. I liked her more. Astria walked closer. The whole room seemed to adjust around her. You want the truth? Yes. Melora knows about you. My mouth went dry. Nixie stopped smiling. Astria continued. Your scent is rare, not just attractive. Rare. Old bloodline. Unregistered. Unclaimed. That makes you valuable to the wrong people. I laughed once. It came out small. Wonderful. My rent is late and now my biology has a market value. Astria's jaw tightened. You are not property. Tell that to the women trying to collect me. I am. The way she said it made the room go still. Not loud, not performative. A vow in a quiet voice. My chest hurt. I looked away before emotion exposed me. Nixie touched my arm. Ophira, I'm fine. You smell like a bakery having a panic attack. Thank you. Astria looked at Kestrel. Prepare the cars. Then she looked at me. You are coming because you will find a way to follow if I leave you here. I blinked. That is rude. That is correct. I hate being understood. You should get used to it. That sentence should not have sounded intimate. It did. The glass chapel sat in the old industrial district between abandoned factories and the river. It had been a wedding venue once, then a pack court, then a crime scene, then a private negotiation hall for women too powerful to use restaurants. Romantic. We arrived in 3 black cars. Astria stepped out first. The night seemed to lower its voice. She wore a long black coat now, gloves on, hair pulled back. No softness, no dinner warmth. Just power sharpened into a woman. Kestrel walked at her right. I walked behind them with Nixie, trying not to panic in heels. This is how I die, I whispered. Nixie whispered back, At least your dress is incredible. That does help. Inside, the chapel was all broken beauty. Glass walls, moonlight, black stone floor, old candles burning in iron stands, ivy crawling across cracked pillars. And at the far end stood Melora Draven. She was tall, elegant, and terrifying in a completely different way from Astria. Astria was winter. Melora was velvet over a blade. Her hair was silver white, cut sharp at her jaw. Her lips were painted dark red. Her alpha scent moved through the room like wine spilled over smoke. Around her stood 6 women in charcoal suits, all alphas, all watching me. My omega instincts recoiled. Astria shifted slightly, just 1 step. Suddenly, her body blocked half of me from view. Melora noticed. Her smile widened. So, it is true. Astria's voice was calm. Speak carefully. Melora's gaze slid to me. Ophira Vale. The unclaimed omega causing so much noise. I raised my hand slightly. Hi. Broke, confused,
not interested in being a political snack. Nixie whispered, "Strong opening." Melora laughed softly. "She is amusing." Astria did not laugh. "She is not available." My pulse stumbled. Melora's eyes glittered. "Available? How possessive of you." I said what I meant. "She wears no mark." The chapel went silent. My hand moved instinctively toward the side of my neck. Astria's jaw tightened. No one had marked me. No one had a right to. But the way Melora said it made my skin feel cold. Like the absence of a mark was an invitation. Astria's voice lowered. "Do not look at her neck again." Melora tilted her head. "Or what?" Kestrel's hand moved toward her jacket. Several women on Melora's side shifted.
My heart slammed. Nixie whispered, "I hate neutral ground." Astria stepped forward. "You wanted a meeting. Speak." Melora smiled. "I want what I asked for. The registry does not exist. Liar." "Careful." Melora's gaze flicked to me again. "Then perhaps I will settle for one name." Astria went still. Not tense. Still. That was worse. Melora continued, "Give me the Omega. I will leave your city untouched." For 1 second, I forgot how to breathe. Nixie grabbed my hand. Astria did not turn around. She did not look at me. She only said, "No." Melora laughed. "One unclaimed Omega in exchange for peace? Even you cannot be that sentimental." Astria removed one glove. Slowly. Every Alpha in the room watched. Her bare hand flexed once at her side. "Sentiment has nothing to do with it." Melora's smile thinned. "Then what does?" Astria looked directly at her. "Mine." My heart stopped. The chapel did too. Nixie made a sound beside me that was almost a prayer.
Melora's eyes sharpened. "She has agreed to this?" Astria turned then, not fully, just enough for her eyes to meet mine. The coldness in her expression shifted. For a moment, she was not the city's feared Alpha. She was the woman who had asked me to tell her to step back. The woman who had noticed when I skipped dinner. The woman who could have forced the room to believe anything, and still waited for my choice. "Ophira," she said quietly, "say the word, and I will take you home." Everyone looked at me. Every Alpha, every guard, every shadow. My mouth went dry. I should have been furious. Maybe I was. I should have been afraid. I definitely was. But under the fear, under the chaos, under the ridiculousness of my life becoming a PAC law negotiation because of one cursed selfie, there was one clear truth. Astria had called me hers in front of enemies, but she had asked me privately for consent with her eyes. I stepped forward. My heels clicked against black stone.
Nixie whispered,
"Oh, she's doing something dramatic." I stopped beside Astria. Her scent surrounded me instantly, protective but not pushing. I lifted my chin and looked at Melora. "I am not a trade." Melora's smile faded. I continued, voice shaking but clear. "I am not a registry entry. I am not a peace offering. I am not an unclaimed thing waiting for an Alpha with enough money and bad manners." Astria's gaze stayed on my face. I could feel it. Warm, fierce, proud. Then I took Astria's bare hand. Her fingers closed around mine. Not tight, just there, steady. I looked at Melora and said, "And if I decide to stand beside Astraea Blackthorn, that decision belongs to me." For the first time all night, Melora looked annoyed. Good. I liked that. Astria's thumb brushed once over my knuckles. A tiny touch. Massive damage. Melora exhaled slowly. How touching. Then she looked at Astria. "You have 1 week. Give me the registry, or I take the Omega and everything attached to her."
Astria smiled. Not warm, not beautiful. Deadly. "You may try." That was when the glass wall behind us exploded. No cap, I wish I could tell you I reacted with grace. I did not. I ducked, screamed, grabbed Astria's coat, and briefly became religious. Kestrel moved like lightning. Women shouted. Nixie hit the floor beside me and yelled, "I hate rich lesbians!" Astria's arm wrapped around my waist and pulled me behind a stone pillar before my brain understood the attack was real. Glass rained across the chapel floor. Smoke burst through the broken wall. Figures moved outside. Women in dark tactical masks. Not Melora's. Someone else's. Astria's face was cold fury. Kestrel. On it. Kestrel vanished into the smoke. I clung to Astria's coat, shaking. What is happening? Ambush. I gathered that from the exploding architecture. Astria looked down at me. Her hand was still on my waist. Even in chaos, that touch registered. I hated my body. Stay behind me. For once, gladly. Across the chapel, Melora was shouting orders at her own women. For all her drama, she looked genuinely furious, which meant she had not planned this. Fantastic. A third enemy. Exactly what my life needed. A masked woman rushed through the smoke. Astria moved. I barely saw it. 1 second, the woman was coming toward us. The next, Astria had disarmed her, twisted her wrist, and dropped her to the floor with terrifying elegance. I stared. "You do Pilates?" Astria looked at me. Focus. I am focused and aroused by violence against my enemies. It is confusing. Her mouth twitched. In the middle of an ambush, this woman was impossible. Kestrel reappeared, dragging one attacker by the collar. "Not Ash Court," she said. Astria's eyes narrowed. "Then who?" The attacker laughed through bloodied lips. "The old houses are waking." Then she bit down on something. Kestrel cursed and forced her mouth open, but too late. The woman went limp. I stepped back, horrified. Nixie crawled to my side. Did she just poison herself? "Yes," I whispered. "I would like to go back to rent problems." "Same." Astria turned to Melora. "This was your meeting." Melora's face twisted. "Not my attack." "Prove it." Melora's eyes cut to me, then back to Astria. "The obsidian matrons." Kestrel went still. Even Astria's expression changed. I whispered to Nixie, "That sounds bad." Nixie whispered back, "That sounds like women who own haunted law firms." Melora said, "They have been buying old scent records, hunting bloodlines. If your Omega is what I think she is, they will not stop." Astria's hand flexed. "Leave my city."
Melora smiled without humor. Protect her well, Blackthorn. Rare omegas do not stay hidden once they bloom. Then she and her women disappeared into the smoke. Rude, dramatic, effective. I looked at Astria. Bloom? She did not answer. I hated that. The ride back to the townhouse was silent.
Nixie sat beside Kestrel in the second row, whispering questions Kestrel ignored with heroic discipline. I sat beside Astria. Her coat was torn at one sleeve. There was a cut along her cheekbone, a thin line of blood. It bothered me more than it should have. I reached into my bag for a tissue. Hold still. Astria looked at me. Ophira, you're bleeding. It is nothing. If one more dangerous woman tells me blood is nothing, I am starting a union. She let me touch her face. That surprised both of us. The tissue brushed her cheek gently. Her eyes stayed on mine. The car lights passed across her face in silver flashes. For the first time, she looked tired. Not weak. Never weak. But human. That was worse. Human Astria was dangerous in a new way. The powerful version made me nervous. The tired version made me want to stay. You called me yours, I said quietly. Nixie stopped whispering. Kestrel looked out the window with sudden, intense professionalism. Astria's gaze did not move.
I did.
You asked after?
Yes.
Why?
Because claiming without consent is possession. I do not want to possess you. My throat tightened. What do you want? The silence stretched. Then Astria said, to be allowed close enough to protect you, close enough to know you, close enough that when you are afraid, you come to me first. That was unfair. That was not a line. That was not a rich alpha command. That was loneliness wearing honesty. I looked away before my face revealed too much. That is a lot for someone I met yesterday. Yes. You are intense. Yes. You are also bleeding on my tissue. That too. I laughed softly. I could feel her watching me. When we reached the townhouse, Kestrel escorted Nixie to a guest room despite Nixie insisting she needed emotional snacks and possibly the blonde one's number. Kestrel did not respond, but her ears turned slightly pink. I saw it. I would use that later. Astria led me to a sitting room with dark green walls, low lamps, and windows overlooking the city. A storm had started outside. Of course it had, because apparently my life now came with weather direction. Astria poured water into a glass and handed it to me. I took it. Our fingers brushed. Again. This time, neither of us pretended not to notice. You should rest, she said. I should have stayed home forever. You would have been taken. I looked up. The room changed. No jokes now, no sarcasm, just fear. Taken by who? Astria's jaw tightened. The Obsidian Matrons were once the oldest female Alpha Council in the Eastern Territories. They believe rare omegas should be bonded into powerful houses for bloodline preservation. I stared at her. That is disgusting. Yes. And you know them how? Her expression closed. Ah, there it was. The locked door. I stepped closer. Astria? She looked away. They raised me. The words landed softly, too softly for what they meant. I stopped. Astria stood by the window, back straight, face unreadable. But her scent changed. Smoke. Ash. Old pain. Not anger. Pain. I forgot how to be funny. What did they do to you? I asked. Her smile was small and empty. They taught me how to become useful. I hated that sentence. I hated every woman who had ever made her say it like it was normal. She continued, voice even. They trained alpha daughters from powerful lines. Discipline, control, court law, violence when needed, obedience always. They called it refinement. That sounds like abuse. It was tradition. That sounds like abuse with better furniture. For a second, she looked at me. Then something softened, barely. They wanted me to bond an omega of their choosing when I turned 25. I refused. What happened? I burned their registry. My lips parted. The registry Melora wants? One of them. Of course. Of course, Astraea Blackthorn's origin story involved fire and illegal documents. I stepped closer. You saved those omegas. I started a war. Those can be the same thing. Her eyes moved over my face. You say that like you believe it. I do. Astria's expression shifted. Not much. Enough. She looked almost wounded by being understood. The storm tapped against the windows. I set my water down. Is that why you protected me before you knew me? I knew enough. You knew my scent. I knew distress. That is not the same as knowing me. No. Her voice dropped. But then you sent me that ridiculous photograph. I groaned. Please never mention that again. It was memorable. It was an accident. It was art. It was sleep deprivation. It was dangerous. The way she said dangerous made my stomach flip. She stepped closer. I should have stepped back. I did not. Her scent wrapped around me again, warmer now. Controlled, but not cold. You looked at the camera like you wanted someone to see you, she said. My breath caught. I didn't. Yes, she said softly. You did. The worst thing about Astrea was not that she saw too much. It was that she was usually right. I had wanted someone to see me, not own me, not rescue me. See me. The tired parts, the pretty parts, the angry parts, the parts I covered with jokes before anyone could touch them. And somehow, the wrong woman had seen all of it. Or maybe the right one. That thought terrified me. You scare me, I whispered. Astria's face changed. I know. Not just because of the guards or the pack law or the scary council women. No? No. I swallowed. You scare me because I think you could matter. The room went very still. Astria stared at me. For once, she had no immediate answer. Good. I liked winning one conversation. Then she reached for me slowly, slow enough that I could move, slow enough that the choice stayed mine. Her fingers touched my waist, light, careful, not taking, asking. My body answered before my mouth. I leaned closer. Astria's other hand came up, touching the side of my face. Her thumb brushed my cheek. I whispered, If you say something arrogant, I will leave. Her mouth curved. I was going to ask permission. Oh. My heart folded in half. That is worse. Worse? Harder to resist. Her eyes darkened. Then don't. So I didn't. The kiss was not gentle at first. It was careful. There is a difference. Gentle can be soft without meaning. Careful is hunger on a leash. Astria kissed me like she had been starving quietly and did not trust herself to rush. Her mouth was warm, controlled, devastating. Her hand stayed at my waist, fingers tightening only when I stepped closer. My hands found the front of her shirt, gripping because standing had become complicated. My omega scent spilled into the room. Cinnamon, honey, heat. Astria made one low sound against my mouth. Not loud, not uncontrolled, but enough to ruin me. I pulled back, breath shaking. Her forehead rested lightly against mine. Still afraid? She asked. Yes. Of me? I looked at her mouth,
then her eyes. Of wanting more. Her expression changed. Something raw passed through it. You can have more slowly. That sentence did something worse than the kiss. It made me trust her. I kissed her again. This time she let the control slip by one dangerous inch. Her arm drew me closer. My back touched the edge of the table. Her mouth moved from my lips to the corner of my jaw, then stopped before touching my neck. She stopped. Actually stopped. Her breath was warm against the sensitive skin near my unmarked gland. Every instinct in me went silent, waiting, wanting, terrified. Astria pulled back. Her eyes were dark, almost black. Not there, she said roughly. I blinked, dizzy. What? Not until you ask without fear. I nearly cried, which was deeply inconvenient during the hot moment. You are very annoying, I whispered. Her hand softened at my waist. I have been told. I rested my forehead against her chest because looking at her felt unsafe. Her heartbeat was steady, faster than before. Not as unaffected as she looked. That helped. The storm continued outside. For a few minutes, nothing exploded. No enemies arrived, no bodyguards interrupted, no ancient councils made threats. There was just Astria, holding me carefully in a dark room while my life rearranged itself around her. Then my phone buzzed. I closed my eyes. If that is Nixie asking whether we kissed, I am throwing myself into the river. Astria looked over my shoulder at the screen. It is worse. I turned. Unknown sender. One message. Rare omegas should not stand beside fallen alphas. Beneath it was a photograph. My apartment door, taken from inside the hallway. My blood turned cold. Astria's expression became murder. Actual murder. The kind with planning. Kestrel, she called. The door opened instantly. I did not even jump this time. Growth. Kestrel took one look at the phone and went still. Astria's voice was calm. Lock down every Blackthorn property. Find who entered Ophira's building. Bring me the camera feeds. Kestrel nodded once and vanished. Nixie appeared behind her in slippers. What happened? I felt lesbian tension turn into homicide. I showed her the phone. Her face lost all humor. Oh. That scared me more than anything. Nixie without jokes was a bad sign. Astria took my hand. You are staying here. This time, I did not argue. Not because I suddenly loved being managed,
but because fear had a shape now, and it had been inside my building. The next morning, Ravenport City woke under rain and secrets. I woke in Astraea Blackthorn's guest room wearing one of her shirts. Again, not symbolic. It was simply the only thing I could sleep in after my dress got stained with chapel dust and anxiety. But when I came downstairs, Astria looked at the shirt for half a second too long. I noticed. She noticed me noticing. Neither of us said anything. Mature. Painful.
Nixie was already at the breakfast table, eating pancakes with the serious focus of a woman recovering from trauma through syrup. Kestrel stood near the wall. Nixie looked up. "Morning, almost kissed." I froze. Astria calmly poured coffee. Kestrel closed her eyes. I sat down. "I hate everyone." Nixie pointed her fork at me. "You smell like her." I dropped my face into my hands. "Please let the council kill me." Astria said, "No." No hesitation. No humor. Nixie's expression softened. Mine too, unfortunately. Kestrel placed a tablet on the table. "The intruder at Ophira's building disabled 2 cameras. We recovered 1 partial image." Astria turned the tablet. The image was grainy but clear enough. A woman in a black hood. Pale hair. A silver brooch at her throat shaped like a thorned circle. Astria's hand tightened around her coffee cup. Kestrel said, "Obsidian matron courier." Nixie pushed her plate away. "She was inside Ophira's building?" "Yes." My stomach twisted. "My neighbors?" "Unharmed," Kestrel said. "Landlord?" "Terrified, but alive." "Good. I still need my deposit someday." Nixie stared at me. "Ophira." "What? Fear has layers." Astria looked at Kestrel. "Where is the courier now?" "Gone, but she left something." Kestrel placed a small black envelope on the table. Wax seal. Thorned circle. Very dramatic. Rich villains loved stationery. Astria opened it. Her face did not change as she read. That meant it was terrible. "What does it say?" I asked. She did not answer. I reached for it. She caught my wrist gently. "No." I stared at her. Astria. Her jaw flexed. Then she released me. I took the letter. The handwriting was elegant. Of course. To Astraea Blackthorn. You burned our registry once. You will not burn blood itself. The Veil Omega carries a dormant line. If she blooms unbonded, every old house will hunt her. Bring her to the matrons before the next moon, or we will collect the debt you left behind. Below the message was one final sentence. An alpha who refuses tradition should not pretend she can protect what she desires. I read it twice, then a third time. The words blurred. "The Veil Omega," I said quietly. Nixie's hand found mine under the table. Astria stood by the window, face carved from control. I looked at her. "What does dormant line mean?" Silence. Kestrel's gaze lowered. Nixie whispered, "That sounds hereditary and terrible." Astria turned back. "It means your family hid something from you." I laughed once. My family hid unpaid loans and emotional avoidance. Your mother's line may have belonged to the old sanctuary Omegas.
The what? Kestrel answered this time. Rare omegas trained to stabilize unstable alpha quartz. Their sense could calm violence, strengthen bonds, expose false claims. I stared. Sorry, my scent can do what? Astria's eyes stayed on me. If it blooms. I pushed back from the table. No, absolutely not.
I refuse mystical biology before coffee. Nixie nodded. Reasonable.
Astria approached slowly. Ophira? I stood. No, I am a retail worker. I sell perfume to rich women with dead eyes. I do not stabilize quartz. I do not bloom. I do not get hunted by thorn circle grandmothers. You are scared. Yes, Astria, because this is scary. Her expression softened. I know. That almost broke me. I wanted her arrogant. I wanted her bossy. I wanted her impossible. Soft Astria was too much. I walked away into the hallway and tried to breathe. My scent was everywhere. Too sweet, too sharp, panic turning honey into smoke. A door opened behind me. Not Astria. Nixie. She leaned against the wall beside me. Well? I wiped my face. Do not say something stupid. I was going to say your life has excellent pacing. Nixie. She pulled me into a hug. I folded. Just a little. Enough. I don't want to be special, I whispered. I know. I want to be tired and normal and complain about rent.
I know. I don't want everyone looking at me like I'm something to take. Nixie's arms tightened. You're not something to take. Behind us, Astria's voice came softly. No, she is not. I turned. She stood at the end of the hall. For once, she looked unsure of whether she was allowed closer. That did something to my chest. Nixie stepped back and whispered, I'm going to find Kestrel and ask inappropriate security questions. Then she left. Subtle as a fire alarm. Astria walked toward me slowly. I am sorry, she said. I blinked. That was not what I expected. For what? For pulling you into my war. You didn't create my bloodline. No, but I noticed you. I approached you. I made you visible. You also protected me. Not enough. I hated how much guilt sat in her voice. Astraea Blackthorn carried guilt like she carried power. Quietly, as if no one else had the right to see how heavy it was. I stepped closer. You asked if I wanted to stand beside you. Yes. I still do.
Her eyes lifted. But I need honesty, I said. Not half-truths. Not dramatic alpha silence. Not protection that feels like a locked room. Astria nodded. You will have it. And I need choices. Yes. And Nixie gets snacks. Her mouth twitched. Done. And Kestrel has to stop appearing behind doors like a cursed mannequin. From somewhere down the hall, Kestrel said, No. Nixie laughed. I almost did too. Almost. Then Astria touched my hand. Just my fingers. Not possessive. Not claiming. There. I will not let them take you, she said. I believed her. That scared me too. Because believing someone gives them a doorway. And Astraea Blackthorn already had too many keys. By the third day, I officially lived in a romantic security crisis. Astria called it temporary protective housing. Nixie called it the lesbian fortress. I called it rich people jail with pancakes. Kestrel called it nothing because Kestrel had the personality of a locked weapon cabinet.
The townhouse was now full of Blackthorn women. Guards in corridors, analysts in the library, pack lawyers in the dining room. Apparently, if an ancient Omega hunting council threatened you, the correct response was to invite 12 terrifying women with laptops into your home. I sat on the couch in the sitting room while a woman named Severine adjusted scent wards around the windows. Scent wards. Because yes, apparently my life now had magical security plumbing. Nixie lay upside down in an armchair. I'm bored. You are in a house full of secrets. Exactly. No one will tell me any. Kestrel walked past. Nixie sat up. Do you have a tragic backstory? No. Is that a lie? Yes. Kestrel kept walking. Nixie looked at me. I'm in love. You met her yesterday. I'm efficient. Before I could answer, Astria entered. The room changed. It always did. People straightened. Voices lowered. Even the fire seemed to behave. She wore a white shirt today, sleeves rolled to her forearms, black trousers, hair tied back. Less queen of the underworld, more dangerous woman doing paperwork. Somehow worse. She looked at me. You need to come with me. Good morning to you too. It is afternoon. My fear has no clock. She held out a coat. We are going to your apartment. I stood too quickly. My apartment? You need your things. And by things you mean clothes, documents, anything sentimental. Nixie sat up. Can I come? Kestrel said, no. Nixie smiled. You're so strict. I respect that. Kestrel's face did not change, but again, ears, pink. I saw it. The drive to my apartment felt different this time. The city looked the same, but I didn't. Every alley seemed suspicious. Every parked car looked like a threat. Every woman in a dark coat became a possible matron courier. Astria sat beside me, silent. I stared out the window. I hate this. I know. I hate being afraid of my own hallway. I know. I hate that I feel safer with you than in my own home. Astria turned her head. Her voice softened. Do you? I looked at her. Yes. The answer sat between us, naked and inconvenient. Her hand rested on the seat between us, not touching me, available. I stared at it for 3 seconds. Then I put my hand in hers. Astria's fingers closed around mine. The world did not become less dangerous, but my breathing changed. That mattered. At my building, Kestrel went in first with 2 guards, then Astria, then me. I hated seeing my apartment door with new eyes, the peeling paint, the crooked number, the hallway light flickering above it. This had been home. Small, ugly, mine. Now it looked vulnerable. Kestrel cleared the apartment. I stepped inside after her and immediately wanted to cry. Not because anything was destroyed, because everything was normal. My mug in the sink, my blanket on the bed, Nixie's stolen crackers on the counter, the rent notice still pinned under a magnet shaped like a cat. Normal life sitting there like it had no idea it was over. Astria stood by the door, quiet, giving me space. I grabbed a bag and started packing. Clothes, hairbrush, documents, my mother's old silver necklace.
a cracked perfume bottle I kept because it reminded me of the first scent I ever loved. Astria watched me pick it up. What is that? Moonveil number 9, discontinued. My mother wore it. May I? I handed it to her. She removed the cap and inhaled gently. For a second, her expression changed. Your scent resembles this. I looked down. My mom used to say I smelled like trouble baked in sugar. She was right. I smiled despite myself. Then Astria picked up a photo from my dresser. Me at 13. My mother behind me, hands on my shoulders. Astria studied it. She was an Omega. Yes. Powerful. I laughed softly. She was a waitress. That does not answer what I said. The words hit quietly. I looked at the photo again. My mother, Ophira Vale, had always seemed tired to me. Soft, gentle, always working, always smiling like life had teeth, but she refused to show the bite marks. Had she known? Had she hidden this from me to protect me? Or had she been hunted too? My throat tightened. I wish she were here. Astria set the photo down carefully. So do I. I looked at her. The sincerity undid me. Before I could respond, Kestrel appeared in the doorway. Ma'am? Astria's posture changed. What? Someone is downstairs. My stomach dropped. Matron? Kestrel shook her head. Melora Draven. Of course. Because why would my apartment trauma tour remain private? We went downstairs. Melora stood outside my building under a black umbrella, looking deeply out of place beside overflowing trash bins and a broken buzzer. She wore a dark green coat, red lipstick, and the smug expression of a woman who knew exactly how dramatic she looked. Astria stopped several feet away. Leave.
Melora smiled. Still charming. Still unwelcome. Melora's gaze shifted to me. Ophira, you look tired. I was kidnapped by my own genetics. Understandable. I blinked. Was she being funny? No, I refused to enjoy her. Astria's voice cut through the air. Why are you here? Melora folded her gloved hands over the umbrella handle. The matrons contacted me. Astria's eyes sharpened. And? They offered me half of Ravenport if I delivered the Veil Omega to them. My blood went cold. Astria stepped forward. Melora lifted one hand. I declined. Silence. Rain whispered against the street. Astria did not relax. Why? Melora looked at me again. Because I dislike being offered what another woman has already chosen for herself. That surprised me. It surprised Astria too, though she hid it better. Melora continued. Also, the matrons bore me. They dress cruelty as heritage and call cages sacred. I prefer honest violence. Nixie would have loved that line. I hated that I almost did. Astria asked, What do you want? An alliance? No. You didn't hear the terms. I heard your voice. Melora smiled. You wound me. Not yet. The air tightened. I stepped between them, not fully. I was brave, not suicidal. Can everyone stop flirting with murder for 5 seconds? Both alphas looked at me. I continued. Melora, if you know something useful,
Say it. Astria, if she lies, you can do the scary eye thing after. Melora's brows lifted. Astria looked almost amused. Almost. Melora said, "The matrons will move before the next moon. They believe your bloom has started." I froze. Astria's attention snapped to me. I felt my scent shift. Warm. Too warm. Cinnamon honey spilling into rain. Melora inhaled lightly. Astria's face went deadly. Careful. Melora's smile faded. I am being careful. That is the problem. I wrapped my arms around myself. What does bloom feel like? Melora looked at Astria. Astria looked at me.
Neither answered quickly enough. I laughed once. Oh, wonderful. Astria stepped closer. Ophira. No. Tell me. Her voice gentled. Heightened scent. Stronger emotional resonance. Sensitivity to alpha presence. Heat symptoms without full heat. Dreams. Pull toward a chosen, stabilizing alpha. My face burned. Melora looked delighted. Astria looked like she wanted to remove Melora from the city by hand. I stared at the sidewalk. Cool. Normal. Love that for me. Melora tilted her head. Has she begun seeking you physically? Astria's voice dropped. Enough. I pointed at Melora. Do not talk about me like I'm weather. Then I pointed at Astria. And do not look murderous because the weather talked back. Astria's eyes softened by a fraction. Melora laughed. She is magnificent. She is leaving, Astria said. Melora's smile sharpened. Bring her to the old observatory tomorrow night. I will give you the matron's route maps. Why help? Melora looked at me.
Because if the Veil Omega blooms in a cage, every Alpha court in the East will feel it. The matrons will use her to rebuild the old order. Astria's jaw tightened. And if she blooms free? Melora's gaze settled on our joined hands. Then every cage they built begins to crack. The rain seemed louder after that. Melora left without another word. Astria watched her car disappear. I looked at her. No pressure, though. Her hand found mine again. None. You are lying. Yes? At least you admit it. Back at the townhouse, the bloom's symptoms got worse. And by worse, I mean humiliating. My scent kept changing. 1 minute cinnamon, the next honey, the next something floral and warm that made 3 alpha guards walk directly into furniture. Astria sent them out of the room, not because she was jealous. Of course not. She was maintaining operational clarity. Nixie called it possessive panic with a budget. I spent the afternoon wrapped in a blanket on Astria's couch, trying not to notice every sound she made in the next room. Her pen against paper, her voice on calls, her footsteps, her breathing when she came too close. My body had become a traitor with enhanced hearing. At one point, she entered carrying tea. I looked up. Wrong move. Her shirt collar was open. Her sleeves were rolled. A small scar curved along her wrist. I stared at it, then at her hands, then at the tea, then at the ceiling. Astria paused. Ophira, I am fine. You are flushed. This blanket is aggressive. You are staring at my hands. Your hands entered my line of sight without consent. Her mouth twitched. She placed the tea on the table. I can leave. I hated that my first instinct was no, so I said nothing. Astria crouched in front of me. Not too close. Enough that I could smell her. Smoke and amber. My body softened instantly. Betrayal. Her eyes darkened. You need grounding.
I need my biology to stop writing poetry.
That too.
She held out her hand.
May I?
I looked at it. What does grounding involve? Touch, scent, breathing, nothing more than you choose. My throat tightened. I nodded. She sat beside me, leaving space. I took her hand. The effect was immediate. My scent steadied. My breathing slowed. The panic softened around the edges. Astria watched me carefully. Better? Yes, I whispered. Her thumb moved over my knuckles. Slow. Once. Twice. My pulse changed for an entirely different reason. Astria noticed. Of course she did. Ophira, don't say my name like that.
Like what?
Like you know what I want before I do.
I know what you want right now.
My breath stopped. She leaned slightly closer.
But I also know you are frightened. So I am going to sit here, hold your hand, and do nothing.
I wanted to cry again. This was becoming a pattern, and I resented it. Why are you so controlled? I whispered. Her face went still. Because I know what uncontrolled alphas can do. That was the door again. The old wound. This time, I stepped through carefully. Did someone hurt an Omega you loved? Astria looked toward the fire. For a long moment, I thought she would not answer. Then she said, My mother. I went still. She was an Omega? Yes. The matrons selected her for my father's house before I was born. She was beautiful, soft-spoken, gifted with scent work. Everyone called her blessed. Astria's mouth tightened. She was not blessed. She was trapped. I squeezed her hand. She looked down at our fingers. When I was 14, she helped 3 young Omegas escape the matrons. They punished her through the bond. My chest hurt. She died? Not that night. Later. Slowly. Quietly. The way caged women disappear while everyone calls it duty. I could not speak. Astria's voice remained calm, but her scent had changed. Smoke over grief. At 25, they gave me my chosen Omega. A girl barely older than you are now. Terrified. Drugged with calming herbs. Dressed in white like a sacrifice. They expected me to mark her at the ceremony. What did you do? I took her hand, led her outside, put her in a car with money, papers, and a new name. Then I burned the registry room. I stared at her. She still would not look proud, only haunted. That is why they hate you. Yes, that is why you hate yourself. Her eyes snapped to mine. I swallowed. Too late to take it back. Astria's voice was quiet. I do not hate myself. Liar. The room went silent. I should not have said it, but I was tired of fear, tired of powerful women speaking around pain like naming it would make them weak. I shifted closer. You think because you became dangerous,
You became what hurt her.
Astria's jaw flexed. You do not know that.
No. I know you stop before touching my neck. I know you ask when you could take. I know you look terrified every time I trust you.
Her eyes burned. Not with anger. Worse. Truth. I touched her cheek. She closed her eyes for half a second. The sight nearly broke me. You are not them, I whispered. Her hand came up, covering mine. I could be. No. You do not know what blood does under pressure. I know what choices do. Astria opened her eyes. The air between us changed again. But this time, it was not just desire. It was grief. It was trust. It was the kind of wanting that did not start with the body, but eventually filled it anyway. She leaned forward, slowly. I met her halfway. The kiss was different from the first. Softer, deeper, more dangerous because neither of us was hiding behind shock. Her mouth moved over mine with restrained hunger. My hand slid to the back of her neck, fingers touching the soft hair there. She made a low sound, and I felt it everywhere. She pulled me closer, then stopped. Always stopping. Always giving me space to choose. So I chose. I climbed into her lap. Her whole body went still. Powerful. Controlled. On the edge. Ophira, she said, voice rough. Yes? You are blooming. I am aware. This may intensify things. Everything about you intensifies things. Her hands rested at my waist, not moving, waiting. The restraint in her nearly undid me. I touched her jaw. I want to kiss you. I want to be close. I do not want a mark, not tonight. Her eyes softened. Then there will be no mark. You promise? I swear. So I kissed her again. And for a while, the world narrowed to warmth, breath, hands over fabric, mouths learning what words had failed to say. Astria held me like I was precious, not fragile. Like she wanted desperately, but wanted my trust more. When her mouth moved to my throat, she stopped before the gland again. I felt her breath shake. My fingers tightened in her hair. The power of that pause ruined me more than any touch could have. She rested her forehead against my shoulder. I should stop. I smiled faintly, breathless.
You say that like you're losing an argument.
I am.
With who?
Myself. That should not have been as attractive as it was. I kissed her temple.
Then stop before you get dramatic.
She laughed, actually laughed. Quiet, low, beautiful. I froze. Astria looked at me. What?
You laughed.
I have done that before.
Not where poor people could hear.
Her smile stayed, soft and brief. It felt like seeing a secret room open. Then the sitting room door opened. Nixie stepped in, saw us, and immediately covered her eyes. I am blind. I am respectful. I am also proud. I dropped my forehead onto Astria's shoulder. Astria sighed. Kestrel appeared behind Nixie. I told you not to enter. Nixie pointed blindly, and yet my instincts were correct. Kestrel looked at Astria. Ma'am, Melora sent coordinates. The warmth disappeared. Back to war, back to maps, back to women who wanted to turn me into a weapon. But this time when I climbed off Astraea's lap, her hand caught mine.
Not to stop me, just to stay connected. And I let it. The old observatory stood on a hill outside Ravenport, abandoned after the city built newer things and forgot how beautiful broken places could be. At midnight, it looked haunted. Naturally. The dome was cracked, vines climbed the stone walls. The telescope inside pointed toward a sky covered in clouds, which felt rude for an observatory. Melora waited inside alone. Or she appeared alone. With women like her, alone was probably a legal fiction. She looked at our joined hands and smiled. How sweet. Blackthorn finally learned to hold without crushing. Astria's voice stayed cold. Maps. Melora handed Kestrel a black folder. Kestrel opened it, scanned quickly, then nodded. Looks real. It is real, Melora said. I dislike wasting moonlight. Nixie, who had absolutely not been invited but came anyway, whispered, I respect her brand.
Kestrel whispered back, Stop respecting enemies.
No. Melora's gaze moved to me. You are blooming faster. I wrapped my coat tighter. Everyone keeps saying that like I'm bred. You feel it, don't you? I did. I hated that. Every emotion felt louder. Fear had teeth. Desire had gravity. Astria's presence felt like a place my body recognized before my mind approved. Melora walked closer. Astria's hand tightened around mine. Melora stopped immediately. I will not touch her. No, Astria said. You will not. Melora's eyes glinted. Such restraint. Does it hurt? Astria said nothing. Melora's smile deepened. It does. My face burned. Can everyone stop discussing Astria's restraint like it's weather? Melora looked delighted. Do you defend her now? I defend my right not to be trapped inside Alpha tension. Nixie muttered, Too late. Kestrel said, Quiet. Melora's expression shifted, more serious now. The matrons will move tomorrow night.
Not against the townhouse, against Moonlace. My stomach dropped. My job? They believe you will try to protect ordinary people. Astria cursed under her breath. Soft, elegant, terrifying. Melora continued. They will threaten your co-workers, draw you out, force a bloom under distress, then use the old binding rights. I felt cold. Vera, customers, the girls in the stockroom, Morwen, horrible but still human. Astria turned to Kestrel. Evacuate the store quietly. Melora shook her head. They will know. They have watchers. Then we set a trap. No, I said. Everyone looked at me. I swallowed. No trap at my workplace with innocent people inside. Astria's gaze softened. Ophira? No, I mean it. I'm tired of being moved around a board I can't see. Melora tilted her head. What do you suggest, Omega? I hated that tone. So I smiled. The retail smile. The one women in customer service develop when we are about to ruin someone while sounding helpful. I go to work.
Astria's answer was instant. No. I go to work, I repeated. Everyone sees me normal. No panic, no visible evacuation. But Blackthorn security surrounds the block quietly. Kestrel watches inside. Kestrel nodded slowly. That could work.
Astria looked at her like betrayal had entered the room. Kestrel added, "With modifications." Nixie raised her hand. "I can pretend to shop." "You cannot pretend anything," Kestrel said. "I can pretend to be annoying." "That is not pretending." Nixie smiled. "Progress. She knows me." Astria stepped close to me. "No." I looked up at her. "I need to choose." "This is dangerous." "So is hiding until someone else decides what I am worth." Her jaw tightened. "I cannot protect you if you walk into the open." "Yes, you can." Something shifted in her eyes. I took her hand with both of mine. "You said you wanted me to come to you when I'm afraid." "Yes. I'm afraid. And I'm asking you to stand with me, not in front of me." That landed. I saw it.
Astria closed her eyes for one brief second, then opened them. "All right." Melora looked impressed. Nixie whispered, "Healthy communication in a crime observatory. Incredible." The plan was simple, which meant it immediately went wrong. The next day I went to Moonlace wearing my normal uniform, my normal shoes, and a hidden emergency tracker sewn into my waistband, because apparently that was my life now. Kestrel entered 15 minutes later pretending to be a customer. She was terrible at it. She picked up one perfume bottle, stared at it like it had insulted her ancestors, and said, "This smells inefficient." Vera leaned toward me. "Who is that?" My anxiety. "She's hot. She's armed." I said what I said. Nixie arrived next wearing giant sunglasses and a scarf. She picked up a candle and announced too loudly, "I am an average customer with no knowledge of security operations." Kestrel closed her eyes. I loved them both. Astria was not inside. She was across the street in a black car, because if she came into Moonlace, every Omega in the building would probably scent panic or desire, or both. My phone buzzed. "Astria, breathe." I typed, "Stop monitoring my lungs." Astria, "No." I smiled before I could stop myself. Then the bell above the door rang. 3 women entered. Elegant, older, dressed in pale gray. Their scents were wrong. Too controlled. Too empty. Like flowers pressed between old pages. The store temperature seemed to drop. Kestrel's posture changed. Nixie stopped pretending to inspect candles. The woman in front smiled at me. "Ophira Vale?" My heart slammed. Customers moved around us, unaware. Vera looked up. I smiled. Retail smile. "Welcome to Moonlace. Are you looking for anything specific?" The woman's smile widened. "Yes, something rare." My scent spiked. The woman inhaled. There it was. Hunger. Not desire. Not attraction. Hunger for ownership. I pressed one finger against the tracker twice. Across the street, I knew Astria would receive the alert. The matron stepped closer.
"My name is Kalira Obsidian. Your mother knew us."
My blood went cold. "My mother is dead."
"Yes," Kalira said softly. "Disobedient Omegas often become tragic."
The shelf beside Kestrel cracked under her grip. I lifted my chin.
"You have 30 seconds to leave before my manager asks you to stop scaring customers." Morwen appeared from the back at exactly the wrong time. "What is going on?" Kalira looked at her. Morwen froze. The matron's scent sharpened. Command. Old Alpha command. Morwen's eyes glazed slightly. My stomach turned. Kestrel moved, fast, too fast for normal customers to understand. She stepped between Kalira and Morwen, blocking the scent command. Enough, Kestrel said. Kalira's smile vanished. Blackthorn dog. Kestrel smiled then. Small. Cold. Bite trained. Chaos erupted. The lights went out. Customers screamed. The front window shattered inward. Smoke flooded the store.
Someone grabbed my arm. Not Astria, not Kestrel. A gray-sleeved woman with cold hands and a scent like dust. I twisted, screamed, and slammed my elbow backward like every self-defense video I had watched at 2 a.m. finally became useful. She cursed. Nixie hit her with a candle. A large one. Lavender and cedar. Very expensive, very effective. "Run!" Nixie yelled. I tried. Another woman caught me from behind. Her hand clamped over my mouth. Panic exploded through me. My scent burst outward. Not sweet now. Powerful. Sharp. Golden. Every alpha in the room froze. Even through smoke, I felt it. Something inside me opened. Not gently, not like blooming petals, like a locked door being kicked down by ancestral rage. The matrons inhaled together. Kalira whispered, "There she is." Then the front doors blew open. Astria entered. No coat, no gloves, no softness. Her alpha scent hit the room like a storm breaking over fire. Every matron turned. Astria's voice was quiet. "Take your hands off her." The woman holding me laughed. Big mistake. Astria moved. I saw only pieces, her hand, a blur of black, the woman's grip vanishing. My body pulled into Astria's arms. Her scent wrapped around me so fiercely, my knees almost gave out. Kestrel and Blackthorn guards flooded the store. Nixie crawled behind the counter with Vera and yelled, "I am never shopping again!" Kalira did not run. She smiled. "Your mother would be ashamed, Astria." Astria held me against her side. "My mother is dead because women like you call cages sacred." Kalira's eyes moved to me. "The Omega is blooming. You cannot stop it." "No," Astria said, "but I can stop you." Kalira lifted a silver blade. Old, curved, inscribed with binding marks. My skin crawled. Astria stepped forward. I grabbed her wrist. "No!" She looked at me. I was shaking, terrified, but I knew. If Astria killed Kalira here, in front of cameras, customers, witnesses, the matrons would use it. They would paint her as unstable, dangerous. Proof that old control was needed. I whispered, "Don't become their story." Her eyes held mine, the whole room burning around us. Then Astria lowered her hand. Kalira smiled. "Mistake." I stepped forward. Astria's grip tightened, then loosened when I looked at her. Choice. Mine. I faced Kalira. My scent filled the store. Golden cinnamon. Honey. Something older underneath. Every alpha breath caught, even Astria's. But her hand stayed open beside me, not claiming, supporting. I said, "You wanted the Veil Omega to bloom?" Kalira's eyes shone. Yes. Then listen carefully. My voice changed, not louder, deeper. Every word seemed to settle into the walls. I reject your claim. The old blade in Kalira's hand cracked. Her smile vanished. I reject your registry.
Another crack. The matrons behind her staggered. I reject every bond written without consent, every mark placed through fear, every cage dressed as tradition. The blade shattered. Kalera screamed, not from pain,
From power breaking. The store lights flickered back on. Silence fell. Astria stared at me like she had never seen anything more beautiful or more terrifying. Honestly, same. Kalira stumbled backward. You do not know what you are. I stepped closer. No, but I know what I'm not. My voice shook now, human again. I'm not yours. Kestrel took Kalira down before she could move. Blackthorn guards restrained the others. Customers cried. Morwen fainted. Nixie crawled out from behind the counter, hair wild, holding the candle like a trophy. I helped. Kestrel looked at her. You did. Nixie froze. Say that again? No. Astria turned me toward her. Her hands hovered near my arms. Ophira. I'm okay. You were bleeding. I looked down. A thin cut across my forearm. I had not noticed. Oh. Then my knees decided their contract had ended. Astria caught me. Of course she did. The last thing I remembered before everything blurred was her voice near my ear. I have you.
For once, I believed it completely. I woke in Astria's bed, not guest room. Her room. I knew because everything smelled like her. Smoke, amber, winter roses. Safety. The sheets were dark and soft. Rain whispered against tall windows. A fire burned low across the room. My arm was bandaged. My body felt heavy. My scent felt different. Quieter. Deeper. Like something inside me had stopped begging to be hidden. Astria sat in a chair beside the bed, still dressed in black, one hand resting near mine but not touching. Her eyes were closed. She looked exhausted. Beautiful. Haunted. Mine, my traitorous heart whispered. I immediately rejected the thought for legal reasons. Then Astria opened her eyes. Ophira, you look terrible. Relief flickered across her face. You are awake. You look like you haven't slept since the invention of guilt. She exhaled, almost a laugh. How do you feel? Like I yelled at a cult in a perfume store. You did. Did Morwen survive? Yes.
Unfortunate but fair.
Her mouth curved slightly. I tried to sit up. Astria stood instantly. Careful!
I am wounded, not Victorian. She helped me anyway. Her hand at my back was warm. I noticed. She noticed me noticing. The air shifted, because apparently near-death experiences did not reduce tension. They gave it better lighting. What happened after I fainted? I asked. Kestrel secured the matrons. Melora sent witnesses from the Ash Court. Your rejection broke 3 old binding warrants. Is that good? It is historic. Oh, cool. I need snacks before I process that. Astria reached to the bedside table and handed me a plate. Toast, fruit, tea. I stared. You anticipated snacks? You always need snacks after panic. My chest tightened. Thank you. She sat on the edge of the bed, careful to leave space. For a while, I ate in silence. Then I said, You didn't mark me. Astria went still. I said I would not. I know. I meant it. I looked at her. Even when I bloomed,
Her eyes darkened. Desire, pain, control. Yes. Was it hard? Her smile was faint and tired. Ophira. What? Do not ask questions you are not prepared to hear answered. Heat climbed my face. Right. Adult consequences. I looked at the tea. She said softly, "Yes, it was hard." The honesty hit like a touch. "But wanting you is not the same as owning you," she continued. "I will never confuse the two." My throat tightened. There it was again. The doorway. Trust. I set the plate down. "Astria." "Yes?" "I want you to kiss me." Her eyes lifted. The room seemed to still around us. "I also want you to stop if I say stop." "Always." "And I still don't want a mark tonight." "Then there will be no mark tonight." "And I might cry because everything is a lot." "Then I will hold you." That undid me. Not the danger, not the power, not the dress or the car or the black roses. That. The promise of being held without being taken. I moved first.
I leaned toward her, and Astria met me carefully, one hand rising to my cheek. The kiss was slow, warmer than before, less shocked, less restrained at the edges, because now we both knew the line and trusted it. My hand slid into her hair. Hers settled at my waist. The world outside faded. No matrons, no registries, no broken store glass. Just her mouth on mine, her breath catching when I whispered her name, her careful strength surrounding me without closing into a cage. When she lowered me gently back against the pillows, she paused above me. Her eyes searched mine, still asking, always asking. I touched her face. Yes. She kissed me again. The fire cracked softly. Rain blurred the windows. And for once, desire did not feel like danger. It felt like coming home to a room I had not known existed. The night unfolded slowly after that, not rushed, not claimed, chosen. Astria touched me like every yes mattered, and every breath was worth listening to.
I learned the shape of her control, the places it trembled, the way her voice broke softly when I held her too close. She learned my laughter in the dark, my shy silences, the difference between fear and wanting. And when the world became too much, when feeling turned sharp and overwhelming, she stopped, held me, waited. No frustration, no pressure, only warmth. Only her hand over mine. Only her voice whispering, "I am here." By morning, nothing was solved. The matrons were not gone. Melora was not trustworthy. My job was probably closed due to cult damage. My apartment was still unsafe. My life was still insane. But I woke with Astria's arm around my waist and my face tucked against her shoulder. And for the first time in years, I did not wake up bracing for impact. I woke up safe. Which, honestly, was rude. Because once you know what safe feels like, it becomes much harder to accept anything less. Nixie found us at breakfast, of course.
She walked in without knocking, saw Astria sitting beside me, saw my shirt, saw Astria's shirt, saw the bandage, saw our hands under the table, and slowly smiled like a villain receiving funding. So, I pointed a fork at her. Choose your next words carefully. Nixie sat down. I only have one question. No. Was it emotionally respectful? Astria calmly drank coffee. I covered my face. Kestrel appeared in the doorway and said, There is an urgent council call. Nixie looked at her. Saved by the blonde. Kestrel ignored her. Astria stood. Before leaving, she touched my shoulder. Small, public, certain. My scent warmed. Nixie gasped. Oh, you are gone. I survived a cult attack and fell in love. I did not say love. Nixie leaned forward. You didn't have to. Your scent is writing her name in cursive. I threw a napkin at her. She dodged, but I was smiling. That was the worst part. Later that afternoon, Astria called a meeting in the library.
Blackthorn women gathered around the long table. Kestrel stood at Astria's right. Melora joined through a secure screen, looking annoyingly perfect for someone attending remotely. I sat beside Astria. Not behind, beside. I noticed Kestrel notice. I noticed Astria notice Kestrel noticing. Pack politics had too many eyes. Astria addressed the room. The Obsidian matrons are fractured. Kalira is detained, but 3 senior matrons escaped the eastern route. They will try to rebuild through old houses. Melora's voice came through the screen. They already contacted the Thorned Court. Kestrel's jaw tightened. Astria said, Then we move first. Every woman in the room straightened. Power gathered. Old, dark, elegant. Astria looked at me. You do not have to be part of this. I appreciated that. I hated that the answer was already in me. Yes, I do. Nixie, sitting in a chair she had not been invited to, whispered, Main character behavior. I ignored her. I looked around the table.
For years, women like Kalira survived, because everyone whispered. Everyone knew registries existed. Everyone knew Omegas disappeared into powerful houses. Everyone knew forced bonds were called tradition when rich alphas did them. The room was silent. My voice shook, but I kept going. I am not a warrior. I am not a pack leader. I am not trained for this. Yesterday I sold perfume and cried over rent. But I broke something in that store. I felt it. Astria's hand moved under the table. Her fingers touched mine, grounding. I continued, stronger now. If my bloom can break old claims, then use me. Astria's head snapped toward me. No. I turned to her. I don't mean own me. I don't mean drain me. I mean let me stand in court. Let me reject them publicly. Let every Omega they tried to bind hear it. Melora smiled slowly. Oh, she is dangerous. Astria did not look away from me. She is not a weapon. No, I said. I am a witness. That landed. Even Astria had no immediate argument. Kestrel spoke. The old court still recognize public rejection rights. If Ophira rejects the matrons before 3 alpha houses and survives the scent backlash, every registry claim tied to Obsidian authority becomes challengeable. Nixie raised her hand. What does scent backlash mean in non-terrifying language? Kestrel looked at her. Pain? Fever? Possible collapse? Astria's face went cold. No. I squeezed her hand. Astria, no. The room went still, not because she raised her voice. She did not. But the alpha in her filled the space, protective, terrified, furious. I turned toward her fully. You promised choices. Her jaw tightened. I will not help you hurt yourself. And I will not hide while other Omegas stay trapped. Her eyes burned. The room should not have been watching. This felt too private, too raw. So I lowered my voice. I'm scared too. That shifted her. The anger cracked. I continued. But you taught me something. What? That fear does not get to make every decision. For a moment, she just looked at me. Then her hand tightened around mine, not stopping me, holding on. Melora's voice softened unexpectedly. The public rejection must happen at the old court, beneath St. Varel. Astria looked at the screen. You sound prepared. I told you, I prefer honest violence. This is honest rebellion. I almost liked her. Annoying. The plan formed quickly after that. Too quickly. Within hours, messages went out across hidden pack channels. By nightfall, rumors spread through Ravenport like sparks on oil. The Vale Omega would speak. The Blackthorn Alpha would stand witness. The Obsidian matrons would be challenged. By midnight, Omegas began gathering outside St. Varel. Not just Omegas, Betas, Alphas, Packless women, former bond servants, scent workers, couriers, women with old scars and new fear. Women who had survived quiet cages and still did not know if freedom was allowed to have a voice.
I watched them from the car window. My throat tightened. Astria sat beside me, silent. Her hand rested open between us. I took it. You can still change your mind, she said. So can you. I already did. I looked at her. She stared forward. For years, I thought burning the registry was enough. I thought if I destroyed their records, their power would starve. Her voice was low. But cages do not survive because of paper. They survive because everyone agrees not to look too closely. I squeezed her hand. She turned to me. You made them look. I laughed softly. I sent a selfie to the wrong number. That too. We entered St. Varel through a side door. The old court beneath the cathedral was enormous. Stone arches, iron lanterns, a circular floor carved with ancient pack law symbols. Balconies filled with women watching. At the center stood 3 obsidian matrons in white. Older, cold, elegant. Their scents pressed against the room like old perfume over rot.
Kalira was not there. But the woman in the middle looked worse. Tall, silver hair braided down her back, black eyes, a thorned circle brooch pinned at her throat. Astria whispered, Vesper Caldress, High Matron. Of course her name was Vesper Caldress. Villains never had names like Linda. Vesper's gaze fell on me. My child. Astria's hand tightened. I stepped forward before she could speak. Absolutely not. A murmur moved through the court. Vesper smiled. You do not understand what you carry. I carry trauma, rent anxiety, and apparently legal explosives. Nixie whispered from behind Kestrel. Perfect. Vesper's smile remained. The Vale line was entrusted to us. My mother ran from you. Your mother was confused. My mother was hunted. Your mother was valuable.
I felt Astria shift behind me. I knew she wanted to step forward. I knew every alpha instinct in her demanded it. But she stayed. Because I had asked. Because she trusted me. That gave me strength.
Vesper lifted one hand. Ophira Vale, unbonded omega of dormant sanctuary blood, the obsidian matrons call old claim. The symbols on the floor lit faintly. My body reacted. Pain shot through my bones. I gasped. Astria moved. I lifted a hand behind me. Stop. She stopped. Barely. Vesper's voice deepened. By blood hidden, scent awakened, and registry burned but not forgotten, we call you to rightful custody. Custody. The word hit like a chain. My knees shook. The room blurred. Then Astria's scent reached me, not overpowering, not claiming. A thread. Smoke and amber. A reminder. I was not alone. I breathed. Once. Twice. Then I lifted my head. My name is Ophira Vale. The court quieted. I am daughter of Ismeria Vale, who belonged to no one. The floor symbols flickered. Vesper's smile faltered. I am an omega, not a vessel, not a bloodline asset, not a peace offering, not a court instrument. The pain sharpened. I nearly fell. Astria made a sound behind me. A broken, restrained sound. I kept going. I reject obsidian custody. The symbols cracked. Gasps filled the court. I reject every registry claim written without consent. More cracks. Vesper's face twisted. Enough. I stepped forward. I reject every alpha law that calls possession protection. Astria inhaled sharply. The words were for the matrons, but also for every good intention that had almost become a cage. For every time fear tried to dress itself as love. For every woman who thought being powerful meant choosing for someone else. I looked back at Astria. Her eyes shone. She understood. Then I faced the court again. And I choose my own bonds, my own body, my own name, my own future. The floor split with light, not fire, light. Golden, warm, fierce. It burst outward in a circle. Every omega in the court gasped. Some cried. Some clutched their necks where old, forced marks suddenly burned and faded. The matrons screamed. Their brooches shattered. The thorned circle seal above the court cracked down the middle. I felt the backlash hit. Pain. Heat. A wave of dizziness so strong the world tilted. This time, I did fall. Astria caught me before I touched the floor. Of course she did. The court erupted. Kestrel shouted orders. Melora's women blocked the eastern exits. Nixie screamed my name. But all I felt was Astria. Her arms around me. Her scent surrounding me. Her voice against my ear. You did it. Ophira, you did it. I tried to answer. My mouth would not cooperate. Very rude. Vesper Caldress staggered backward, clutching the broken brooch. This is not freedom, she hissed. This is chaos. Astria looked up from where she held me. Her face was terrifying. No, she said. This is consequence. The old court fell that night. Not completely. Nothing old and rotten dies in one dramatic scene. But it cracked. Publicly. irreversibly. Omegas came forward with names. Alphas broke from old houses. Records were seized. Hidden rooms opened. Registries surfaced. By dawn, Ravenport was no longer pretending. And me? I slept for 18 hours. Historic rebellion is exhausting. When I woke, I was once again in Astria's bed. At this point, the guest room was a myth. Nixie was asleep in a chair near the fireplace with a blanket over her face. Kestrel stood by the window. Astria sat beside me. Of course. Her hand was wrapped around mine. Also, of course. I opened one eye. You look worse than last time. Astria's shoulders dropped with relief. You nearly died. I was making history. Be supportive. Nixie sat up instantly, blanket falling off her head. She lives! Kestrel exhaled so softly I almost missed it. Astria did not smile. Not yet. Her eyes moved over my face like she was checking I was real. I squeezed her hand. I'm okay. You collapsed. I'm dramatic. You stopped breathing for 9 seconds. My smile faded. Oh, that explained her face. I sat up slowly. Astria helped me. Her hands shook. Barely, but they did. I covered one with mine. I came back. Her jaw tightened. You should not have had to. But I did. Nixie stood. I'm going to find tea before this becomes emotionally private. Kestrel followed her. Nixie whispered, Were you worried about me too? Kestrel said, You are difficult to kill. Nixie gasped. That is the nicest thing you've ever said. The door closed behind them. Astria and I were alone. Morning light softened the room. No storm, no fire, no enemies. Just aftermath. I looked at her. You stayed. Yes. The whole time? Yes. You need sleep. I needed you to wake more. There it was. The thing between us. No jokes could cover it now. No danger could distract from it. I touched her face. She closed her eyes. I heard you, I whispered. When? When I was out. You told me not to leave you. Astria went still. I did not mean for you to hear that. I know. Her throat moved. I had never seen Astraea Blackthorn afraid like that. Not of enemies. Not of death. Of loss. That was the fear that made her human. That was the fear I understood. I'm here, I said. Her eyes opened. So am I, she whispered. The kiss that followed was not urgent. It was not heat, not bloom, not adrenaline. It was relief. It was soft enough to hurt. When I pulled back, Astria rested her forehead against mine. I love you, she said. No warning, no dramatic build, just truth. Quiet. Certain. Astraea Blackthorn did not throw words she did not mean. My heart forgot how to be sarcastic. I breathed once, then laughed because I was me and emotions needed supervision. You are insane. Her mouth curved faintly. Yes. You met me because I sent you a selfie. Yes. You paid my rent without asking. Yes. You dragged me into pack politics. Regrettably. You almost started 3 wars. 2. And now you're saying love? Her eyes stayed on mine. Yes. I swallowed. Tears burned. Annoying.
You don't do anything normally.
No. I kissed her, then whispered against her mouth, I love you too. Astria went completely still. For one terrifying second, I thought I had broken her. Then her arms came around me carefully, tightly, like she was holding something impossible. She buried her face against my shoulder. I felt her breathe, once, twice, shaking.
Astraea Blackthorn, feared Alpha of Ravenport, terror of old courts, destroyer of registries, held me like a woman who had finally been allowed to want something without turning it into war. I held her back, because sometimes the strongest women are not the ones who never break. Sometimes they are the ones who learn how to be held after breaking quietly for years. 3 weeks later, Moonlace reopened. Sort of. The front window was replaced, the shelves were repaired. Morwin quit and moved to a wellness commune, which felt correct. Vera became manager because Justice occasionally wears eyeliner. And I? I did not return as an employee.
Astria had offered to buy me the building. I said no. Then she offered to invest in my studio. I said no. Then she asked what I would accept. That was harder, because accepting help still felt like stepping into debt. But Astria had learned. She did not push, she did not command. She asked. So I asked for a loan contract with fair terms, shared ownership, and a clause stating she was not allowed to use romantic intimidation during business discussions. Nixie called that clause cowardly but necessary. Astria signed it without complaint. Then she looked at me and said, "You are very difficult to spoil." I said, "You are very difficult to trust with money." She smiled. We were both right. The studio opened under the name Vale and Thorn Scent House. Nixie insisted her name be spiritually included because she had survived the origin story. I let her design the waiting area. Mistake. There were too many velvet chairs. But customers loved it.
The first day we opened, women lined up around the block. Omegas came for custom grounding scents. Alphas came for control blends. Betas came because Nixie's social media campaign was aggressive and possibly illegal. Kestrel stood by the door in a black suit, not because we needed security, because Nixie asked her to. Kestrel pretended it was assigned duty. No one believed her. Astria arrived after closing. No guards, no dramatic entrance, just her, in a dark coat, holding black roses and a paper bag. I leaned against the counter. If that is another expensive pastry, I'm emotionally available. It is. Good evening, my love. Her eyes softened. That still got me, every time. She looked around the studio. Warm lights, dark wood, scent bottles along the walls, soft music. A place that was mine, not given, built, supported, chosen. You did this, she said. We did this. Her gaze returned to me. Careful. Always careful. May I kiss the owner? I smiled. Only if you respect the business clause. I will try. Terrible answer. She crossed the room, slowly. Even now, even after everything, Astria moved like the world had to earn her hurry. She stopped in front of me. Her hand touched my waist. Mine settled on her collar. You smell happy, she said. You smell possessive. I am working on it. Are you? No, I laughed. She kissed me,
Soft at first, then deeper. The kind of kiss that reminded me how close danger and safety could feel when love chose restraint instead of control. Outside, Ravenport moved around us. Still messy, still dangerous, still full of old houses pretending not to crumble. But inside the studio, everything was warm. Cinnamon, amber, winter roses. Home. Nixie's voice came from the doorway. I knew it. I told Kestrel you two were making out. I pulled back and groaned. Astria closed her eyes. Kestrel stood behind Nixie, expression blank. I told you not to open the door. Nixie smiled. And yet love guided me.
Kestrel looked at me. I apologize. I waved a hand. You live with her now spiritually. Good luck. Nixie gasped. Live with? Kestrel turned pink. Astria whispered near my ear. Your friend is dangerous. I whispered back. So is yours. Astria smiled. A real one. My favorite. Later that night, after everyone left, Astria and I sat on the floor of the studio eating pastries from the paper bag. Very elegant, very romantic, very us. She leaned against the counter. I leaned against her. My head rested on her shoulder. For once, silence did not feel like tension. It felt like peace. Rich peaceful? No. Healthy peaceful? Getting there. Broke peaceful? Absolutely not. The studio had invoices. But real peaceful. The kind that comes after surviving the storm and realizing the woman beside you is not the storm. She is the hand that held yours through it. Astria touched my ring finger gently. No ring yet. No mark yet. No rush. Just a question waiting someday. I looked up at her.
Do not propose on a floor covered in pastry crumbs. Her eyebrows lifted. I was not. You were thinking loudly. I think quietly. Your alpha scent got sentimental. She looked offended. My scent is disciplined. Your scent is writing vows. Her mouth curved. And if it were? My heart warmed. I took her hand. Then it can wait. Astria looked at our joined fingers, then back at me. As long as you choose me again tomorrow. I kissed her knuckles. Tomorrow is likely. Likely? I need to maintain mystery. You sent me a mirror selfie by accident. And look how well that worked out. She laughed, and this time, the sound did not feel like a secret room opening. It felt like home with the lights on. So yes, 48 hours ago, my life had been peaceful. Then I texted the wrong female alpha. Then my rent got paid. My manager got threatened. My job got attacked by an ancient Omega hunting council. My bloodline exploded in public, and I accidentally helped break a centuries-old registry system. Also, I fell in love. So yes, mistakes were made. But some mistakes walk into your life wearing black, smelling like winter roses, and asking permission before they kiss you. Some mistakes protect your choices instead of stealing them. Some mistakes become the safest place you have ever known. And if you ever accidentally send a dangerous mirror selfie to the most feared female alpha in your city, block her. Immediately. Unless her name is Astraea Blackthorn, then maybe eat breakfast first. Because trust me, my darlings, you are going to need your strength.